Welcome back to By George. Today we're looking at the Ford Ranger XLT double cab ute. This is a diesel version and probably one of the most popular ones. It's the base one, but it's got all the goodies in it and it goes quite well. The first thing you might notice about this vehicle is the size of it. It is a substantial vehicle by anyone's standards. The cab itself will hold 5 people in relative comfort, and the tray on the back is big enough for most of your work requirements. Okay, one thing that's obvious on this ute is it's got the Fleetwood canopy made right here in New Zealand. The only downside to this I can see at a quick glance is the fact that you have to unlock both of the locks on the hinge before you can open the tray down to get into it. The whole canopy obviously opens up. The deck itself has a spring on it to make it easier to open and close because it's a substantial piece of metal. But once you get inside, it's a decent sized boot. They all come, as I understand it, with the liner, so that protects the car itself from damage when you're putting your tools and bits of timber in it and all that sort of thing, your tools and maybe even your wheels for your race car. It's all nicely laid out in here. There's no real extras, there's not many clips and fastenings. There's a couple on each side and 2 at the back, and it's got the Ford logo in it, of course. But once you've got all your tools in there, you close up the deck, the Fleetline canopy comes down, and once again you've got to close both things and lock them separately. I thought there might have been a better way of doing it. There's also no wiper on it, so once you're in the vehicle you've got to rely on the reversing camera to see where you're going. And if you've been off-road or in a mucky situation, the reversing camera can become dirty, which makes it almost impossible to back it safely. As we look under this car, you can see the live axle. You can also see the good ground clearance. It has a standing platform, which makes it much easier if you want to get into the ute and get up a bit higher. The step makes it a lot easier. The Ranger comes with 17-inch wheels, Bridgestone tyres in this case, and it does have disc brakes on the rear, which makes it better for stopping when you've got the vehicle under heavy load. The 2023 Ford Raptor engine bay is a clean, tidy and efficient place to get to, but you do need a set of stairs to get up to work on it because it is very high. And no, I'm not joking, you do need some steps so you can get at the engine, but once you get in, it's okay to work on. It's a 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel displacing 1996 cc's, producing 154 kilowatts of power at 3,700 revs. 500 newton meters of torque is produced at about 2,000 revs. The whole system drives through a 10-speed automatic transmission to a live back axle, and as I've already said, it has 4-wheeled disc brakes. The larger vehicles have a V6 engine of about 3 litres. When I said the Raptor was a substantial vehicle, I'm not joking. It is a large vehicle by any stands, and also it's very high. It's an extremely high vehicle, and I'm not short. But on them they come with this little step to get in, and you do need it because otherwise you just wouldn't get in. So you've got a step here and a hand grip here, and you do need it, because you are a long way up, which perhaps is the appeal for some people. Once you're in, it's quite a nice place to be. The steering wheel is well placed in front of you. It has multiple adjustments for in and out and up and down, so you can get it quite well positioned. There's various controls on the steering wheel for your telephone, your volume, and I think all commercials should come with Bluetooth so you can connect your phone to it because you're in it all day as a working vehicle. I think selling a commercial vehicle without Bluetooth for your phone is just appalling because some people will still do that. You've got a start-stop button for your electronics. You've got some other minor controls here for the side lights and what have you. Your main lights are on the stalk. They're what I call the wrong way round because most cars are the other way now, but hey, it's got some American heritage in there. Wipers on the other side. It's got a very nice LED display which comes up and tells you the driver's door is open, just in case you didn't know that. The general atmosphere in the car is very nice. It's got an electronic day-night mirror, which I don't like. I'd rather be able to control it, because sometimes you get those cars that come up behind you with the headlights on in daylight, and with a manual one you can just switch it off. It seems easier and cheaper to me. The controls in the centre are nice and clear. The big screen is very good. it's a little bit slow in places. The navigation lady seems to be a bit behind the times sometimes, but she's not too bad. She catches up after a while. This one has a good stereo in it, air conditioning. It's well laid out. Keeps me nice and warm when you're busy during the day. There's lots and lots of places for little accessories to fit. There's little cubby holes all over the place for your phone and your bits and pieces. Pens, paper, all the bits and pieces you're going to use during the day. So by and large, the interior is quite well laid out. You've got a stalk down here, not a stalk, you want to call it a little rotating controller for the four-wheel drive. You've got high four-wheel drive, low four-wheel drive, and two-wheel drive only. So you can have a bit of fun if you're just playing around, which of course we won't do. The centre armrest is nicely laid out with a big holding capacity for your glove box. All the drinks bottle holders are of a good size. There seems to be different versions of these bottle holders. Some of the other ones on the higher models had claws to hold your drinks a bit better, but I dare say that works anyway. After you've clambered up into the Ranger, using all the handholds available on the step, you find you have a reasonable amount of range in the back. There's good range in the back seat. Your view is blocked badly by the headrest in front, so your visibility from the back seat is limited. You've got a map pocket, lights and hand grips, which I think could come in handy if you're off-roading one of these, which you could because they're a very capable vehicle. The fit and finish, by and large, is pretty good. There are some plasticky bits around the place, but it's a work vehicle. It's not bad. You can get your feet under the front seat quite well. There are air vents here, so you can get fresh air in here. In this one, there doesn't appear to be any USB ports for charging your devices back here. There is an armrest and a centre headrest and a seat belt, so you can easily fit 5 people in here, fit the crew in here, no trouble at all. Okay, the first thing I noticed when you get in the Raptor is that the plug is a long way down behind the seat. It's quite hidden down there. It's a nice place to sit in. Yes, it's a bit plasticky here and there, but it's quite pleasant enough. It's got a good feel to it. You get good visibility out of the side and along the front. But you don't get any visibility behind you, but you've got a good reversing camera, so that at least that way you can see what you're going to hit. The obvious thing with this particular one, the base model, is the diesel engine. It's not very exciting. It's very uninspiring, I would say. It doesn't seem to have a huge amount of torque. It doesn't seem to have a lot of power. Having said that, within a few seconds we're up to 90 k's. Hold on, let's go. There, we put our foot down and there we are, 103 k's. So it does get this big car up to speed relatively quickly, but it's not very exciting. But it does do the job, and I guess it's economical, and it is a workhorse, so what do you expect? The second thing I find here is the ride and suspension. The ride and suspension is excellent. I would say that's one of its good features. For a big heavy vehicle, the suspension is very well damped. It's not making any noise. It's very compliant without being soft. The suspension, I think someone's done a good job on the suspension. We've got 4-wheel disc brakes all round, and we're coming up to a stop sign, so let's see if it stops from 100 k's in a straight line, which it better, otherwise there'll be something majorly wrong with it. 100 k's, brake, 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 brake. Yep, it worked very well. ABS didn't cut in, it was all pretty good. And it gets out of that intersection pretty good. So as a driving machine, it's not exciting, but it certainly does the job. I dare say the diesel motor is quite economical and reliable. I think Ford had a recall on some of their cars for fuel injectors. But, you know, these things go wrong. They also had a big recall, I believe, in America for windscreens that fell out for no particular reason. But I guess they glued them in wrong and they learnt from their mistake and they fixed it. And this is the 2000, oh, there I go, hitting the wipers, not the indicator again. I do wish they standardise these sort of things. Now hopefully this is the right road to go back to where we started from. Oh, we got wheel spin. So perhaps I should apologise to the motor. What are we in? That's two-wheel drive, so we're just driving the back two wheels. So, to be fair to the Ford, I'm actually quite impressed with the interior. It's quite a nice place to be. It's quite comfortable. The visibility sitting here is quite good. The seats are nice. The mirrors are big mirrors. They don't seem to make a lot of wind noise, so it's not too bad. You've got armrests and mirrors and everything you really want. I'm not completely sold on the sat-nav and the other little features in here. You've got dual heat, so you can heat each side of the car differently to the other, which is quite good. Wipe indicators, right-hand switch. Pretty good all round. It is big. I wouldn't want to drive it round too many narrow English country lanes or the back streets of Wellington or Auckland or something. But, you know, with due care and attention, and if you're working and you're used to it, I'm sure you'll get by pretty happily. So overall, yes, this vehicle does have its faults. Some of the plastics are a bit cheap, but there's no rattles. It's nice to drive. It is awfully big. And with a work vehicle, I sometimes wonder if you do need the crew cab that holds four. Perhaps a bigger boot and a slightly smaller vehicle with just two seats would be better. But if you're taking all the boys to the work site with their tools, this is probably an excellent vehicle. Would I recommend it? Yes, I probably would. There are other vehicles that compete against it. The trusty old HiLux is one worth having a look at. You know, but this is a good contender. It's not cheap, but it depends on which spec you get. But certainly it's a very popular vehicle and they're selling very well. And when you get in them and drive them, you can see why, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's a lovely vehicle if you need something of this size. And do be aware that it is a big vehicle. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at the Ford Ranger. If you have, tick like, tick subscribe. More videos coming around soon. Thank you very much.